Hey yo, welcome to the QB School Show. Fired up for this one. All sorts of good stuff. Let me know how I sound. Hit me with that emoji. Game, let me see what you got. Bring it. Love seeing all the members in here. You can tell the members with the logo afterwards. I am fired up. The logo is going to take on a special meaning this week. I'll let you all know what I'm talking about as we continue to go. Love seeing Nick in the house, Joe, Henry, all sorts of guys. Jake just joining up. I appreciate the different ways to support the channel. I really do. Love seeing y'all have fun with the emoji game in here. Come strong with it and let me have it. So Brian's in the house. All sorts of good stuff. I appreciate y'all joining me, especially when the Saints-Falcons game is on, I think right after Katrina. I caught the early portion of it. Man, that game electric to start on so many levels, and now it means so much for different reasons. You know, watching Steve Gleason block that punt early was just something crazy. But I appreciate y'all joining me tonight. Fired up. Got a handful of things I want to touch on. But really, this show is it's whatever we want to make it. So you got good questions, hit me up. Let me know. Michael, appreciate the support. Again, letting people know about the Patreon community. I appreciate it. Ryan in the house. All sorts of good stuff. I really do appreciate y'all checking in and letting me know that you appreciate the show. Lots. I've been dumping a lot of college stuff at for the QB schoolers, and it's been one of those things for me. Hopefully, you all get and realize the fact that I enjoy that stuff. I think it's been a pleasant surprise for me to get access to that film and then be able to turn it into something that I think is pretty unique for what's going on. You know, there's obviously so much content, and now there's not any live sports right now, but there's so much online content, whether you're streaming something, you know, a regular TV studio, you know, a different streaming service, YouTube. There's so many different ways that you can get analysis. But when you come over to the QB school, I hope that you feel like you get something that you can't get other places. And so one of those things that I like to do now, getting more and more comfortable with the live stream thing, is to just come in here and get engaged and really, you know, kind of check in and see what y'all want to see. And I know I go a little bit deeper with the Patreon group and try to really make those things come to fruition. Like, for instance, this week we got a full game for Peyton Manning at the end of the week for the Patreon community. I'll put out a little snippet on Friday, but it won't be the full video. But I really do enjoy getting ideas from people and just seeing what their interests are, because I would never have watched, you know, Perkins today, the video that came out for Virginia. I've never watched him play before that game. Never had anything to do with them. Someone asked me to do it. Never heard of him before. Looked it up and just watched the game. And that's my honest feedback from one game. And now it is just one game. But I do think it provides a pretty real take on what a pretty, hopefully a mildly unbiased take on someone who's gotten a chance to play and knows what, you know, they might be looking for as you transition from college to the league. So I really do hope that you all enjoy it. The Nate Stanley video was another one too that just came because someone suggested it. So I really do look at many of the comments, if not all of them, especially from people with the, especially all the members with the badges. I try to do my absolute best to get back to y'all, but it's fun for me to see people who who enjoy the content, who resonate with it, who maybe learn a little something from it, get entertained, and just I want to make sure that I check in with y'all and let you know that I appreciate you all watching it, because there's just so many different things available. And when you put out an hour video, you know, I don't anticipate every single person watching every single minute, but I do appreciate people who are into it and care and enjoy it. And so thank you. I appreciate it. Boom. So got a few different things I want to talk about tonight, but I did hit it off. I've been posting stuff on the community page. I don't know how much people really check the community page, or how it comes across depending on what feed you're looking at on your phone or desktop or laptop, whatever, tablet. But asked for some questions for this, and one of the questions, I forget, gosh, I should remember what his name was. Someone asked me, what is your favorite coverage to throw against? And they painted it as a pretty broad question, and it is to a certain degree, but I think it's one that I think I can talk a little bit about, because I do have different feelings for different coverages. But if I had to pick one coverage, everybody's even. Our 10 offensive players and me versus their defensive 11, everybody's even. One coverage I want to throw against all the time. To me, it's easy. And it might be a little counterintuitive to what most people would think. You know, I'd want to throw, I think an easy answer would be anything middle field closed. We're going to work seams or know we have one-on-ones on the outside. We'll take our chances. But for me, I want to throw against cover zero. You break one tackle, it's to the house. You got no middle field player. Yeah, you don't have a whole long time to throw. You got to have a quick timer in your head playing quarterback. You might have an extra guy depending on how they're rushing you. If they're coming from depth, you probably have 2 hitches. If they're coming from right at the line of scrimmage, you might only have a hitch, if that, or you might have to bail away from the free rusher. And so cover zero to me always exposes people if you don't know what's going on, especially in the pass pro wise. And you got to know how the pass pro is married up to the concepts down the field, because if you know pass pro and you're comfortable about where they're coming from, you can kind of bail and cheat and give yourself a little extra time to make throws that are really daggers and take shots down the field. And then even if you throw stuff underneath, they make one guy miss and it's to the house. So that cover zero to me, and I really remember the transition for that. I used to hate cover zero or getting blitzed like that in high school and early when I was in college. But I remember it was like midway through my college career, you do so much blitz pickup, or we did at that point, and we had these zero checks, and I want to say that we called them black, and it got into our like max protect. And once I got comfortable with the process at the line of scrimmage, being like black 94, or what was it? It was like black 94 weak, whatever. Doesn't matter what it is. You make the check and then you hit a couple. Well, now they're not going to blitz you. There's nobody back there. So if you get blocked up and you time up the cadence correctly so that they're not getting a running start at you, and you know where they'll be free, meaning that you know where the long edge is. In pass pro, for me, I'm always thinking we want to protect the A and the B gaps. Never should there be a free runner through the A and the B gaps. So you're going to have someone maybe come from the C, or if you have tight ends and backs, and you might have someone come from the D outside. But if you know where the free runner is on which edge, and you can bail away from it and throw it down the field to your fast guy with no safety, it's always going to be cover zero to me. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't like throwing against quarters and 2 and closed and, any kind of bracket variation you can figure out. If you know what's coming, it's a fine, right? If, that's why the Astros are in so much trouble, right? Like, if you know what's coming, we can hit anything. And so it's just one of those things where, but for me, if I had to pick one, zero. Like, let's go make that money. It's yards to be had. So let me know. Y'all think I'm crazy or what? If you disagree. Slants versus zero, no doubt. Anything versus zero. I mean, I throw a hitch, let them run to the house. Brian, that's a good question. What's your favorite formation? It depends for me on what level. So in the league, the hashes are so tight. I want to say they're like 6 yards apart, that it really doesn't matter so much where the strength is. There, you see a lot of teams that are just. I remember being on the Packers. I want to say that, and I think the Seahawks were similar. Minnesota was similar for a long time. They were right-handed. What I mean by that is the tight end was on the right like 75% of the time. Even if they're on the right hash, they had the tight end, their strength to their passing strength. So they're 2 wide receivers to the right. And so in college and high school, especially with the super wide hashes, you can't do that. It changes your formation. So in high school, I like having 3x1. In college, I like mixing it up a little bit more. In the league, it didn't matter, because, you're going to have the same amount on both sides. So that was just kind of my own personal take on it. Whoa! Mr. McAnaffery, Hardaway in the house, coming in strong with the super chat. I have no idea how much that is or what kind of money that is with that symbol, but I appreciate it. You are welcome, sir. But back to the favorite formation, the thing that I'm kind of playing around with more and more are a little bit more of like exotic stuff. So there's one thing about coaching wise, high school coaching, we try to go fast, so everything is simple. But when you're able to huddle, you can get into a little bit more exotic stuff that we got into a little bit towards the end of the year, and by necessity, really. But I think that there's a fine line between being, I don't really ever want to say that we're going to try to like smoke and mirror someone with formations. I'd rather trick and mirror someone with tempo. I just think it's easier. It becomes like a staple of your program. But you can certainly, spend all your time and money in formations and motions and shifts. And it's just, for me, I'd rather get up, see a clean look, especially in a spread game where everybody's widened out, as opposed to like a old school phone booth where everything is tight, like 2x3 sets with like 3 tight ends, 2 backs. Like, that's just not fun for me. But the stuff that I really enjoy is spreading people out, being simple, and going fast. So, hey-o, Mr. McAnafrey, Hardaway coming in strong with the Pro Bowl too. That's big time. I appreciate the support. Very cool. Again, the memberships, really fun for this for the live stream. I really do appreciate it. It's a blast to see all y'all in here with the supporting the channel, finding different ways to do it, because I do appreciate it, and it's fun to be able to see it resonate with people, and it makes it more personable. It's like one of those things where, guys who are in the Patreon community, or people who are in the Patreon community, in the Discord group, it's fun there's just a level of depth. I think that people love ball. It's fun for other people to be around people that love ball and want to talk about it and enjoy each other and all those things. And so I appreciate it big time. Marvin, you're a fan of Empty. I like Empty, but I think for different reasons. I like Empty because it makes a defense declare, right? It's kind of like spread on steroids. But unless you're willing to run your quarterback, and, there's certainly value to that. I think it does lose a little bit of the run fit game, and it just lets, especially in the league where guys are going to tee off. They're going to be in full sprinter stance. Like they are coming, ears pinned back. They're coming to get a sack. Where you put a back there, now all of a sudden they got to worry about the run fits. They got to worry about what gap they have. They got to worry about being sound with the force, where it's a little bit different in Empty, where you're just like, you better have 5 guys up front who can give you, a few seconds to get the ball off, because eventually they're going to come up and jack your guy at the line of scrimmage, and you're not going to be able to do what you want to do and get it out on time. But if you can get them in time and tempo, absolutely. It's a lot more fun to be spread out and have one more eligible guy threatened in a vertical. That's the thing, right? Like you spread guys out, and now all of a sudden you can go vertical. So they have to now cover a third vertical or a fourth vertical, or a third vertical on one side and a second vertical on the other, as opposed to a 3-by-1. And so defensively, I'm always trying to put myself in their position and be like, how can we attack them vertically? They have to cover us, and we might not throw it to the guy, but they need to at least have a plan to cover vertical number 3 or vertical number 2, depending on how you set up the formation. And so you're right. Empties are awesome. It's one of those things. Are you going to live in Empty? I know some people do, and I get it, and the game is evolving that way, but I still like to have a tailback at least being able to like orbit in, or, check in, to be able to come in and run the ball and have that threat of an RPO, and just let your quarterback check out every once in a while and just hand the ball off. It's one of those things that, relying on the quarterback to play an Empty the whole game is challenging, because you're going to get smacked. Joe Holt, what you got? What offense do you use on your team you coach? I don't necessarily have a name for it. It's just we try to go really fast. We're very aggressive. It's adaptive in its nature, meaning that like hopefully it can change by what type of people we had. Last year we had a quarterback and a running back that were both pretty good, so we were pretty balanced. Depending on which way we lean, we can probably switch those things around. Last year we started the season in 11 personnel. We ended the season in 10 personnel. Or not, that's not true. We started the season in 11 personnel about halfway through, then switched to 10 personnel. Then the last game, our quarterback was injured, and we went straight up like Wildcat, really big cat, where we brought in extra offensive linemen. You would never have guessed it. We ran it like 45 times. It was wild, but we didn't win. But so it depends. I would like to say, I would hope that our players think that it's adaptive enough that they know that the best 11 players will be out there, and I'm going to try to get them the ball as often as possible, as fast as we can, as aggressive as we can. And so it's not like we're running like the West Coast or the Digit or the Perkins or anything like that, or the option, the veer, or wing tee. We got a bunch of different stuff, and we want to throw everything against the wall, see what we're good at, and roll. Brian, what's going on? What we got? What's up with the huge splits with the offensive line? I've noticed them in high school and college, but not in the NFL. That's a good question. A few different things. One is just, passing game wise, it's just geometry, right? Like the farther you have to go at a wider angle, the longer it takes for you to get there. I think of like air raid pass sets, and pass sets, I mean like blocking by the offensive lineman. They're going to take really vertical pass sets, meaning straight back. And so it just makes you, I think it's a way to compensate guys who may not be as big whereas like dynamic up front, athletic wise, to give them a chance to make the guy just run farther. And I mean, that's the simplest I can get. The other thing is run game wise, if you're a zone team, it just makes the holes bigger already, right? The wider the split, the wider the defensive lineman has to line up. Now, granted, there's a way you can go too wide and now they can split you. But if you find a team that's always going to line up on the outside shade of the guard, well, if the guard's in a, yard plus split, if they line up in the same spot, they're not going to split the difference or come into that gap. Just keep moving out. That's why you see people sometimes, you can tell a lot with the end zone footage or the back end of a film. If you can tell, like, if the backside maybe has wider gaps, because if they know the defensive lineman's going to line up on them and they know that they're the backside offensive lineman or backside guard or tackle, just take a wider split. It moves everyone else out. It creates a bigger hole. Just little simple games like that. Now, not every defensive line does that. Defenses have different rules about how they align, but little tricks of the trade. We probably, in our high school, the high school that I coach at last year, we probably started with 3-foot splits and moved to 2-foot splits just because we couldn't handle the defensive line at the time. And so we just made the adjustment, bring it a little tighter, muddy it up a little bit more, as opposed to making what I think I would prefer to be wider splits, just because of that. It takes longer to get to the quarterback, but it's not always what I think, that it's what we can do best. So that's kind of where we ended up the end of the year. What else we got? Appreciate it. Ryan, what do you got? How many screens do you have in your team's playbook? How many do you actually use throughout the season? Last year we had probably, I would say 6. We use all of them. We were very good with our running back screens last year. Now, it helps when you have a really good running back. We probably weren't as good on our perimeter screens, which I'm used to calling like wide receiver screens. And it's my own fault, for how we probably installed it, teached it, practiced it. And we're going to be better at it this year, I would imagine, just because we weren't good blocking on the perimeter. And so we are a heavy RPO team. And what I mean by that is we rarely make our wide receivers run block, just because I got so pissed at most of them last year about being not great at it, that we just made both sides RPOs, meaning that like there's one side is a pre-snap and the other side is usually a post-snap, meaning that we'd like a read type play. And so then I'd all of a sudden be like, all right, now we're going to run a tunnel screen or quick screen or now screen or whatever screen, swing screen, bubble screen. And now I'm upset that they can't block. Well, I probably didn't do a good job making it a point of emphasis, coaching them up, holding them accountable during the week. And so we'll probably change that moving forward, or hopefully. So I would say this year, I would be shocked if we don't carry like 8-ish screens. Now we don't carry all of those every single week, but rotate them in and out, different ways to do it. Also like combo screens, meaning like one's, bubble one side, tunnel the other, or running back screen one way, tunnel the other, bubble the other, quick the other, now different screens that allow you to take advantage of numbers and matchups. So I love screens. I wish we would, to me, they're just easy. They're gift completions. And so we got to find a way to get our completion percentage up. All right. Oh, I know what one of the things I want to talk about today was. Let me see if I can do this. Watch this now. This is a little bit jerry-rigged, but we're going to try. Boop. All right. Boom. So I appreciate the support, y'all coming in, checking in with the live stream. I do want to point out, I get a handful of people asking me all the time, how do you watch film? What's the easiest way to watch film? And this is not just coach driven, player driven. It's almost a hybrid of like fan, player-ish here, what's going on. So when I watch film, this is kind of the map that I use. And this is straight from the Quarterback School website. You can go to theqbschool.com, sign up for it. I give it to you, give it out for free. And it's really just a simple map that kind of walks you through how I watch film. And so I'm just going to quickly go through it. I think I have a video out on it. I've talked about it different places, but I get a question probably once a week, teach me how to watch film. How do you watch film? And I just want to make sure I put it out there. This is the simplest way I do it. So you got to start with the situation. When I say situation, I just mean what's on the scoreboard. You got to know what down and distance it is, time, obviously timeouts and late game situations, all those things. Then you want to know personnel. We talked about personnel a lot on this channel. How many running backs, how many tight ends, how many wide receivers are in the game. And then defensively, what personnel are they in? Are they in their base, nickel, dime, quarter, short yardage, all the goal line, that type of thing. So now we know what's going on. We know kind of the exterior, the context of the play. Now we're going to watch the film while we're in the play. The first thing I always look at is what's the shell? What are the safeties doing? Two safeties. Are they rolling? Are they closed? Is it easy to see closed? Is it open, split field, bracket? What's going on with the shell? Then I want to look at the front. And when I say front, I don't mean necessarily what all 7 people are doing in the front or 6 people in the box, tackle to tackle. I'm talking about what's happening with the core. The 2 guards and the center. How are they covering those 3 players? So is it usually there's 2 guys, which is an even front, 1 guy over the nose, and both guards are open, which I'm used to calling an odd or an okie, and then a bear where all 3 of those guys would be covered. Now, that's a little oversimplification, but really there's only 3 ways to cover the core. And so once you realize that there are usually only a handful of coverages that are tethered to those fronts. So that's where your game prep comes into, where you got to know okay, they're an over cover 2 team. They're a bear cover 1 man free team, those type of things. From there, you get an idea of pressure. Usually pressure is tethered to down and distance, situation, team, opponent, all those things. Then depending on the offense you're in, shifts, motions, but it really doesn't matter. You just want to end up in whatever formation you end up in. You can use shifts and motions as kind of clue indicators about coverage if you're not sure of man or zone or how they're going to react. From there, evidence. I'm looking post-snap. I want to see what they do. I go right into confirmation. So now it's snapped. What did the safeties do? Back to the shell. Do they do what we thought they were going to do? Pre-snap? Are they rock and rolling? Are they coming down? Who's the force player? All those things. So then you have a plan what you're going to do with the ball usually on a play. Closed, open, man, zone, all those type of things. But if it's not what you're anticipating, you got to be able to adjust. You got to do it in a split second. And then you got to obviously play the play. And then you got to think, hey, did they get me? Are they doing what we expected them to do? Or are they not? Do we have to make some adjustments right away? What's going on? Is it what we expected? Because we watched all this film, we prepared. Now, are they doing what we want? Or are they doing something crazy that they've never seen before? Well, then we need to get to the sidelines and have a plan and adjust. And that's why I'm always talking about adjustments, in-game adjustments, being able to make adjustments on the fly, I think is what separates a lot of the good coaches from the great coaches. And so how to watch film. You want the document, get over to the website, sign up, simple. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Let me know here. See if I can see the comments again. See if I can go back. There it is. All right. I like it. Hopefully that worked. Nice, Michael. Appreciate it. Yeah, Brian, Nate Stanley does look good. That one game, I don't know if it was just I don't know much about him other than that one game, and he did look good that game. I know that I've seen stuff online that he's worked with, you can tell he's got some polished mechanics. Sometimes, I feel like some NFL evaluators think that this is going to sound weird, but they've almost reached their potential, as opposed to saying hey, we can coach this guy up, we can make him better. I don't know if that's really true, but it's just one of those things where he looked really good, besides for that early miss. Yeah, talking a lot. I did another live stream last night with a online friend, Ron Mackey, Coach Mackey, if y'all caught it yesterday. He's a good follow if you're into the coach content. But talking more than I probably would have guessed. Hey-ho, Joe, appreciate it. That's awesome, Joe. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the support. I really do. It makes these things. It's fun to see the community kind of the QB school community kind of continue to grow, enjoy the content. I hope y'all know I try to do my absolute best to get back to you and make these things, make you all have a meaningful experience with the content, because I try to have fun creating it, and I want that to resonate with the people who are watching. So I appreciate it. Oh, nice, Michael. You caught it? Jake, let me check this question. I know you signed up tonight. Let me see what you got. I know you are not as much on the team building side, but my question, oh, really? My question is, would you rather build the team inside out, offense, defense, line, to perimeter, or another way? Obviously, need a QB first. I think you're right on. I think the team building thing is always inside out. I always think of baseball as a simple analogy. I always hate the cross sport reference, but I think it makes sense here. It's not identical to football. I think most people, the game has changed a little bit from what it used to be, like left quarterback, left tackle. Now it's a little bit line, defensive line play, offensive line play. I think some guards have been a little bit more transformational recently at the league level, but it's definitely control the line of scrimmage. So it's quarterback, then it's control the line of scrimmage. Then it's perimeter speed for me on the front end and on the offensive and defensive element. Really, I feel like the running backs and linebackers have almost become kind of not indispensable, or I guess interchangeable might be the better way to say it, because the shelf life is short. You see a lot of guys, not having long careers at both sides of the ball for the back positions, for linebacker, running backs, and it's just hard to build around those type of positions because the wear and tear is just so significant. But defensive line, that's the thing. I think as the league has evolved to such a pass-friendly league, it's made a premium. And there's always been a premium on a pass rusher. But now you need like 7 guys, as opposed to back in the day, it was like you have 2 pass rushers. I remember when the Giants were really rolling, and they would have like 4 defensive ends in there, and guys would line up all over the place. Well, now it seems like everybody has all those pass rushers. And so they're a huge premium. You can never have too many of them. And they're just athletic freaks. And it really changes the game from the inside out. I think you're right on. That's a perfect analogy. Mick the Dog, what is your favorite pass to throw? That's a good question. The easiest answer is to the best receiver. But I like throwing deep ends when I was in the league. Also like throwing checkdowns. Anything that's open. I like the timing element of things, the anticipation things that I could control, as opposed to like being like rip throws. I never had what I think would be like a cannon type arm, so I always liked anticipation throws, which brings me back to this week's video with the sheriff at the end of the week. That dude was next level anticipation. It's going to be wild it's wild for me to go from watching all this college film where guys probably struggle and really aren't asked to make that many anticipation throws, to going to watch Peyton Manning at the tail end on one of the best offenses ever. All the anticipation throws he made, it's crazy. It really is crazy. They're special to watch. They're a lot of fun. I appreciate you all hanging out tonight. I'm running out of my drink here. I can feel it. Nick, good question. What's in the can? Soda water. Underwhelming. Just not feeling it. I do feel soda water. I don't know when I got into the soda water kick, but is it even called soda water? Carbonated water? Sparkling water. Of course, fancy. Actually, I started drinking sparkling water when I was in Europe, playing NFL Europe. In fact, they only had sparkling water at the hotel. Agua con gas, whatever, however they said it. And I was not a fan. And I felt like you could always like feel it. Like I felt bloated when I was running, but now I love it. I wish I could go back and get free sparkling water. No LaCroix. No, not yet. We went through a LaCroix phase. I feel like this is a Costco thing. Shout out to Costco. All right, what else we got? Let me see what I can get. Let me see how many what I got going here with haven't used this one for a while. All right, what do you think Kevin Stefanski brings to the Browns in terms of the offense? And do you think his success in Minnesota was mostly because of Kubiak? Oh, where to start with these stories? I was in Minnesota when Kevin Stefanski, and I might have talked about it on this channel before, maybe even a live stream before, when he was like Brad Childress's, I want to say it's not right, but essentially assistant coordinator, like the head coach, assistant to the head coach maybe. So I'm not sure I'm like the best person to ask, how I think Stefanski is going to be as a head coach. I think it's an amazing path. I tip my cap to him. I don't know anything about his background. I don't know how he got that job with Minnesota, but crazy to go from being the head coach's assistant to a head coach. I can't even believe it. Kubiak, I've known Kubiak for a long time, sort of from a distance. He never was my direct coach, but, there's only so many quarterback coaches and quarterbacks and offensive coordinators, so you cross paths with these guys. But, I don't have anything nice to say as far as like one way or the other how he came out of Minnesota and got that job, and or what Kubiak's impact on what they were doing is. We'll see. Good luck. Angel, that's a good question. What is your favorite deep pass concept? Again, you all are going to hear me say like a broken record. Like my favorite deep pass concept is whoever throwing it to the best guy deep. But if I had everybody even, I like scissors, because I think it answers a lot of things versus a lot of coverages. I like those all-purpose type plays. So, if it's open in quarters, we might have a shot at the post. If it's closed, we might have a shot with a flood type concept with a corner and something in the flat. If it's zero, we might have a shot to the post. If it's man, we might have a shot to the corner for a big play. So I like options versus different coverages is the way that I think of it. It's not like, hey, I love, whatever, post or Yankee or whatever it's called with the over. Play action shots are great too. I obviously love dagger. Michael, yes, absolutely. I think I did a video on dagger. I know I did a video on dagger. Oh, speaking of new videos this week, fired up for this one. I've been waiting a long time for this. We're going to have a new sponsor here for a handful of shows, and they're sponsoring the X's and O's videos. And so this Wednesday, pretty tentative, like put it down in hard pencil, like number 2 pencil. We're going to do a new X and O's video. Probably going to do what I'm used to calling the logo. Now, y'all probably don't think of it as the logo yet. You probably think of it as 4 verticals or algo or 6, but it's 4 verticals. And we're going to break it down. Did the video. I'm looking at, I wish I could, I can, but I don't want to. I already pulled all the images that I'm going to use for the video, and it's like over 20 different plays from different playbooks that I've used for algo. So you got it at a 3x1, got a little air raid 6 in there, got 2x2, algo, got all the different variations off algo, and then all the ways that you can have kind of third down specialty plays off algo too, with different kind of search routes or stick routes. And so it's going to be fun. I'm fired up for that video. I really am. It's going to be probably my longest X's and O's video by far, but I think people will really enjoy it. I've waited a long time to do the logo for the QB school just because it's my favorite play. Who doesn't like throwing verticals? So fired up. Yeah, Mark. George has all sorts of good stuff over at the 92 Mesh group. I'm a big fan of George. Robert Smith, were you the Davis QB that beat Stanford? If so, what did that feel like to win? No, I was not. I am older than that. Sorry. But it felt great to be an alumnus for that game. Always loved beating Stanford. Eric, that's a good question. NFL mentors. So for me, probably my NFL mentor. Hey-oh, Javin coming in hot with the super ticket. Let me answer the mentor thing, and then I'm going to get to it real quick. I appreciate the super sticker, super chat thing, whatever it's called. I really do. My mentor, probably I could say Jake Delhomme, because he was the backup. He was one of the quarterbacks my rookie year in New Orleans. Really taught me, I think, how to be a pro. And so I think he did a good job. I don't know. You'd have to ask him, but that was probably my biggest mentor. Playing now, growing up, watching like who I like to watch, it was Favre and Rich Gannon and Steve Young when I was a little bit younger, but mostly Favre and Gannon. Javin, how long does it take for the DO coordinator to come up with a game plan for the week? Do other position coaches assist? That's a good question. It depends on the level. It's definitely, every team is different. Every coordinator is different. Every set of skill and capacity for the assistant coaches is different. At the high school level, it might be, done on a Sunday altogether. It might be done on a Monday by one person. Some of position coaches don't want anything to do with it. Others will, have all sorts of plays that they think that they're going to install that week. When you get to the league, and really even, I think most colleges, they have position coaches that are responsible for certain areas of the plan. So like the quarterback coach might be responsible for third down. Wide receiver coach might be responsible for the red zone. Offensive line might do run game, and tight ends might do, short yardage goal line. And so they chop up the work like any job, right? Like if you come at it and everybody does a piece of it, then it's less work for everybody. But you also have to have position coaches that have the capacity to do that. And then they usually present it to the entire offense. So it's a way to build staff kind of morale, to present in front of the whole team. They become the expert, but they also have to know what they're talking about, or else it's just double the work, because then the coordinator has to go in there and do it if they don't trust the information. And so some staffs are more collaborative than others. I think it just depends on the staff. It depends on the coordinator, the head coach, all those things. But the other thing about it is never does the plan ever really stop being made. Like I've been on some teams that put in plays on the bus to the game. Been on some teams that stop on, Wednesday, hard stop. So it just depends. I don't think there's one way to do it, one wrong way to do it by any means. It's just it's a collaborative effort, I think, at most places. Ryan coming at me with another Adam story. I thought about this afterwards. I got one. One more Adam Gay story. I know Adam doesn't do YouTube, so this is fine. In the quarterback room in Detroit, it was Kitna, Orlowski, and I, and Drew Stanton. Remind me to tell a Drew Stanton story. But we're pretty different people. And they're all good dudes, nice guys, but we're not necessarily similar off the field. And but we all kind of loved ball, and we're all into it at that time. When you come in the room, we were all, I think that there was a good working relationship. We used to give Adam a hard time because, Mike Martz ran the show. He's got a big personality, the master of what we were doing scheme-wise. And we used to think, and we were not very good. And so Adam used to take it real personal that we weren't very good. So we used to joke that he would go into the forums, and that's how old this is, like back in the chat rooms, and like try to defend Kitna. And so John used to call him, he'd be like, he said his like chat room name was Lions Tamer AG. And so I think one of us actually went in there. I don't think it was me. One of us went into these chat rooms and like joked around and like created the Lions Tamer AG handle. But it was basically Lions Tamer, Adam Gaze going in there and defending Kitna on all these chat rooms. And so we ended up calling him Lions Tamer for a lot of the time I was there. And so, I got nothing but great stories about those people. That was one of my favorite things about playing quarterback. And I think it's like this in many positions. I just think it's magnified at the quarterback position because you spend so much time together, and only one guy gets to play. And there's usually multiple coaches, quarterback coach, analyst, coordinator. They're all head coach. They're all quarterback coaches. So they're all in the room. And so, it's a fun room, high energy room, usually intense. And when it's not going well, there's a black hole element vibe to it. But when it's going well and you're rolling, it's fun. I think it makes it more fun, when the personalities get along, they give each other a hard time. They know that they're all pulling in the same direction. Even if it doesn't go your way every single week, the guys are pros. And that room was full of guys that were pros. Even if we weren't very good, we worked hard. We enjoyed each other. And Lions Tamer AG, man, good stuff. All right. I'm running out of gas here. I'm running out of a voice too. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the It's like story time about Adam is going to be the way that this thing ends every other week now. Yeah, we're going to leave it at that. I appreciate y'all hanging out. Again, thank you very much for the different ways to support the channel. You want that guide, get over to the website, dqbschool.com. If you want, get your stuff read, different ways to support the channel, membership, join. You want the in-depth stuff, get over to the Patreon community, really help this thing grow, become what we and I aspire it to be as it continues to get better and better. Hopefully you're enjoying all the college stuff. I'm having fun with it. Be fascinating to see what happens with the draft, if they have it, virtual draft. I was thinking, I don't want to put it out there if I'm not going to do it, but we're probably going to be home. Probably going to do a post-draft live stream. I don't know. Y'all think it might be a good idea? Let me know. I think it could be fun, especially if there's maybe a surprise or two in the first round. Should be a good time. I appreciate it. Henry, Michael, Joe, Jake, Spellman, all the members tonight, everybody who's watched it, engaged. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Y'all stay safe. Wash up. Look after each other. Thanks again for being here and supporting the channel. See you next time.